Hey Raiders Nation, we need to talk about what's happening with our team because honestly, things are looking rough and it's impossible to ignore the reality on the field. Heading into week 6, the Las Vegas Raiders are showing very little cohesion. And if you look at the way the team is performing, it's hard to see any identity at all. This isn't just about wins and losses, it's about the product we're watching on the field, and right now, it's not inspiring confidence. Offense, defense, and special teams all seem out of sync. And when your team is struggling in every phase, it's clear that something bigger is wrong beyond just X's and O's. The first 5 games of the season have exposed issues that go far deeper than a few mistakes or unlucky plays. They're the lack of clarity in the scheme, confusion among the players, and a disconnect between the coaches and the roster that just cannot be ignored. We've seen a team that struggles to execute even the simplest fundamentals, and it feels like the leadership at the top hasn't found a way to set a tone that resonates with the entire roster. The young talent that came into the league with so much promise barely gets the chance to contribute meaningfully. That's part of the frustration, seeing players who should be developing on the field sideline while the veterans and starters continue to flounder. It raises big questions about strategy and planning, especially when you consider how much time and effort goes into the offseason and the draft. When opportunities to improve the roster were available, it seems like nothing translated into meaningful progress. As a fan, it's hard to watch because you want to see a team building momentum and developing an identity, but what we're getting instead is a patchwork of uncertainty. And the issues aren't confined to the X's and O's. Chemistry in the locker room appears fractured. There's tension between players and coaches, and that tension is showing in ways you can't hide. Body language, communication on the field, and the general morale all take a hit when everyone isn't aligned. Some players seem to be giving up, and that kind of attitude spreads quickly. Leadership, both from the coaching staff and from the veteran players, is supposed to hold the locker room together during rough patches, but right now it feels like those anchors are missing. When a team is struggling in all 3 phases and there's visible friction off the field, it doesn't take long for the struggles to snowball. Particularly concerning is the quarterback situation. Geno Smith, who was brought in with high expectations, finds himself in a position where performance and accountability are being questioned. There's a sense that the system and the coaches are not fully demanding competition for his spot, and that sends a confusing message to the rest of the team. You want your franchise quarterback to lead by example, to show resilience and clarity under pressure, but when the direction from the top is muddled, it's difficult to expect that from any player. Smith has talent, no doubt, but talent alone doesn't carry a team when preparation, execution, and mindset are inconsistent. Every single play matters, especially when the margin for error is so small, and right now, the film doesn't inspire confidence that the quarterback position is being managed effectively. Defense has also been a major sore spot. Cornerbacks, in particular, have struggled mightily, and the schemes in place seem to exacerbate rather than help the situation. There's a recurring pattern of soft zone coverage that doesn't force pressure or take risks, and it puts players in positions where their limitations are exposed. Watching the games, it becomes evident that the personnel isn't being utilized to its potential, and the result is a defense that consistently gives up big plays. Depth is an issue as well, and the lack of reliable backups makes adjustments mid-game nearly impossible. The team's inability to adapt and cover weaknesses on the fly has been painfully clear, and it's something that compounds week after week. Special teams have not provided any relief either. Mistakes, miscommunications, and failures to execute basic fundamentals continue to cost the team yardage and momentum. In football, every play counts, and when 3 phases of the game are underperforming, it becomes a snowball effect that is nearly impossible to recover from without major changes. The frustration is palpable for fans and players alike because it feels like the organization has been unable to identify and correct the problems that are so obvious on game tape. There's also the matter of the coaching staff. Leadership is crucial in any organization, but when you have a regime that promises winning and then struggles to establish a clear identity, credibility starts to erode. Players look for guidance and consistency, but when the messaging is inconsistent, confidence drops. Accountability is essential, and it must apply to everyone, coaches included. When coaching decisions are questioned and adjustments aren't made even when they are obviously needed, it sends the wrong signal. Fans, players, and analysts can all see it, and it creates an environment where frustration and tension naturally arise. The Raiders' quarterback room is another area that deserves attention. Despite bringing in a veteran with expectations of leadership and performance, there's no clear mechanism for accountability or competition. If a starting quarterback isn't performing at the expected level, there needs to be a transparent process to evaluate options and make adjustments. Otherwise, the team risks stagnation and loses the respect of its players. Leadership isn't just about words at press conferences. It's about holding everyone accountable and making the tough decisions when the stakes are high. The inability to enforce this structure is affecting the entire team's cohesion. Looking ahead, injuries are adding another layer of complexity. Key offensive weapons have been limited by health, and the handling of their rehabilitation has raised questions. Players returning to the field prematurely or without clear communication on their status can hurt both their development and the team's overall performance. Managing injuries is as much a part of leadership as calling plays or developing schemes, and missteps in this area only compound the difficulties already facing the roster. The Raiders are at a critical juncture. If they hope to turn the season around, the issues with identity, accountability, and execution need to be addressed immediately. The team has talent, there's no doubt, but talent without structure, discipline, and leadership can't win consistently at this level. Fans are passionate because they see the potential and want to witness it realized on the field. Right now, that potential is being squandered, and every week without meaningful improvement only deepens the frustration. This isn't just about criticizing the team for the sake of it. It's about identifying the root causes of underperformance so that solutions can be applied. There are young players who could shine, veterans who should lead, and coaches who need to make adjustments. But all these moving parts must work together. The way the Raiders have been performing, it's clear that alignment is lacking, and without it, even the best talent struggles to make an impact. The message to the players, especially the quarterbacks and the leaders on defense, is simple. Accountability is non-negotiable. Every play, every practice, every interaction with teammates matters. Leadership doesn't just mean calling the plays. It means setting a standard that everyone feels compelled to meet. If that standard isn't set, frustration builds, cohesion crumbles, and games are lost. That's where the Raiders are right now, at a point where every decision, every adjustment, and every bit of effort counts. In summary, the Raiders are facing an uphill battle. They're dealing with inconsistencies in performance, confusion in coaching strategy, a fractured locker room, and serious gaps in accountability. The season isn't lost, but the window for correction is narrow. The time for excuses has passed, and the focus must be on creating identity, demanding performance, and fostering leadership at every level of the organization. Fans are watching, players are feeling the pressure, and the organization needs to act decisively to prevent further decline. Now, let's get into the quarterback situation, because right now it's impossible to ignore the tension surrounding Geno Smith. He came into Las Vegas with expectations to lead this team, to be the guy who sets the tone both on and off the field. But if we're honest, the way he's performed so far hasn't inspired confidence. Games have exposed inconsistency, hesitation, and moments where decision-making doesn't match the level of a franchise quarterback. And it's not just the performance. It's the overall approach. Leadership in football isn't about giving speeches at the podium or telling fans to be patient. It's about stepping up when the team needs you the most, about making everyone around you better, and about showing resilience when adversity hits. Right now, the Raiders need Geno to do all of that, and the film doesn't fully back it up. The larger problem is the message coming from the coaching staff. There seems to be a reluctance to create true competition at the quarterback position, which is frustrating because accountability is key in any winning organization. If a starting quarterback isn't performing, adjustments should be considered, evaluations made, and players pushed to earn their positions every day. Without that, not only does performance stagnate, but the rest of the team begins to sense it too. They see that mediocrity is tolerated, and that sends a confusing signal to younger players and veterans alike. The message should be clear. No one is guaranteed anything, and every player must perform to maintain their spot. When that standard isn't enforced, the team's cohesion suffers, and the Raiders are showing signs of exactly that right now. Defensive struggles are another critical issue. The cornerback room has been underwhelming, and the schemes in place have failed to mask the deficiencies in talent. Soft zone coverage, over-reliance on three safety looks, and a lack of effective pressure are exposing the weaknesses of the roster week after week. When one cornerback is consistently allowing the most yards in the league, it's not just a statistic, it's a symptom of a larger problem. Defensive adjustments are minimal, personnel rotation is limited, and confidence across the back end of the defense is deteriorating. Players who should be thriving under a system designed to maximize their strengths are instead struggling, and that frustration leaks into every aspect of the game. Special teams have also been an ongoing headache, compounding the frustration in every quarter. Mistakes in coverage, missed assignments, and inconsistent execution continue to cost the team field position and momentum. When every phase of the game is underperforming, the margin for error becomes razor thin, and small mistakes are magnified. Raiders fans know all too well that football is a game of inches, and right now, inches are being lost everywhere. The inability to manage these fundamental aspects has contributed to the overall sense of chaos and uncertainty surrounding the team. Injuries further complicate the situation. Key offensive weapons have been limited, and questions about how the coaching staff is handling rehabilitation have arisen. Players returning to the field too early or without clear guidance risk further injury and reduced effectiveness, which only adds to the organizational stress. When you combine performance struggles, locker room tension, and injury management, it paints a picture of a team in need of urgent recalibration. Speaking of the locker room, it's clear there's friction brewing between players and coaches. Reports suggest disagreements over strategy, leadership, and expectations are creating tension. When players begin to question the direction of the team or the decisions of the coaching staff, it affects morale, on-field execution, and ultimately, results. A fractured locker room is one of the fastest ways to derail a season, and the Raiders appear to be teetering on that edge. Leadership needs to step in decisively, not only to mediate conflicts, but to reestablish a shared sense of purpose. Without it, even talented players will struggle to perform consistently. Looking ahead, the next few games are pivotal. The Raiders face opponents that, on paper, should allow them to regain confidence and find some rhythm. But football isn't played on paper, and with the current state of the roster and coaching structure, no matchup is guaranteed. Geno Smith must take advantage of these opportunities to reset his season, but he also needs the coaching staff to support him in ways that actually translate to better performance on the field. If key offensive players like Brock Bowers and Michael Mayer are limited or unavailable, the burden on Smith and the rest of the offense increases dramatically. Properly managing personnel, adjusting schemes, and maintaining clear communication are essential if the Raiders hope to turn their season around. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on our Las Vegas Raiders. And don't be shy. Drop your thoughts on the news in the comments below. Explosive rumors are sweeping through the NFL landscape as whispers grow louder about the Las Vegas Raiders reportedly closing a deal with standout defensive end Brian Burns. Insiders suggest that the Raiders are making a bold move to completely transform their pass rush. And if this deal comes to fruition, it could instantly elevate the team's defensive profile. Burns, known for his relentless edge pressure and knack for turning ordinary snaps into highlight reel sacks, has been a constant topic in trade talks and free agent speculation this offseason. Sources close to the organization claim that Raiders executives have been aggressively pursuing him, hoping to address one of their most glaring needs, consistent quarterback disruption. The chatter around Sin City is that Burns could become the centerpiece of a reimagined front seven, giving opposing quarterbacks nightmares and electrifying the fan base in the process. The Raiders, long criticized for underwhelming pass rush performance, appear to be signaling a shift in strategy. Industry insiders suggest that bringing Burns into the mix is more than just an upgrade. It's a statement. With his combination of speed, power, and football IQ, Burns has the potential to change the dynamic of the AFC West, where quarterback play has historically dominated. Analysts are buzzing that this move, if confirmed, might force other teams in the division to rethink their offensive game plans. While no official announcement has been made, social media is ablaze with speculation. Fans are already envisioning highlight reels of Burns chasing down elite quarterbacks, making game-changing plays, and energizing a Raiders defense that has long struggled to make consistent impact plays. Some pundits are even predicting that this acquisition could transform the Raiders from a team that occasionally flashes potential into a legitimate playoff contender. Of course, the NFL world knows that rumors can be just that, but in the case of Brian Burns and the Raiders, the buzz is deafening. If these whispers turn into reality, it won't just be a signing. It will be a declaration that Las Vegas is serious about building a defense that can dominate on any Sunday. The coming days could bring confirmation or denial, but for now, the mere possibility has already sent shockwaves through the league. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Las Vegas Raiders, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.